Hi. Hey. Hello.
And now, our feature presentation.
It's Sunny, and this film serves a much greater meaning to me than what you may think. If you're new here, in my first video, I watched a ton of classic films to grow my critical perspective of the medium, and it just so happens this movie was the very first one I watched off my backlog. I think all of us film lovers have had that one film that really awoken our eyes to the greater space of movies, and this was the film to do it for me. But more than that, this is just a genuinely masterful movie that has so much to be analyzed, and that's my duty for today. Now that we got that out of the way, let's dive deep into what makes this such a special little film. Parasite is a 2019 South Korean film directed by Bong Joon-ho, who co-wrote the screenplay with Han Jin-won. The idea for Parasite originated in 2013 when Bong was working on his other film Snowpiercer and was encouraged by a theater friend to write a play. He had been a tutor for the son of a wealthy family in Seoul in his early 20s and considered turning his experience into a stage production. After completing Snowpiercer and Okja, Bong entirely completed the script after a while alongside his co-writer Han Jin-won. Bong said the film was influenced by the 1960 Korean domestic gothic film The Housemaid with a similar premise. The incident of Christine and Leah Papin, two live-in maids who murdered their employers in 1930s France, as well as his own past being a tutor, were inspirations. Quoting Bong, "I got this feeling that I was infiltrating the private lives of complete strangers. Every week I would go into their house and I thought how fun it would be if I could get all my friends to infiltrate the house one by one." Pretty interesting concept, right? Well, this film is everything interesting. Bong Joon-ho does not play around, man. If it weren't for this film's highly expressive and heightened direction, this film wouldn't even be half of what it is. The cinematography is so highly attention to detail. If you're not a film buff like me, you wouldn't even notice half of what the movie is throwing at you. It serves in truly engaging us, the viewers, into its events through the characters' feelings and perspectives. Here's an example. We begin the film within the Kim household, and we get a good idea of just how crumbling and tightened it makes us feel, perfectly emulating their low-class states. Now pay attention to how the camera moves through Ki-woo's viewpoint of when we first enter the almost fantastical vibes of the park residence. Side note, the overall set design is on another level in terms of amazement. The whole film is constantly doing things like this to either engage us or serve as symbolism. Another great example is the scene where Ki-woo, Ki-yeon, and Ki-taek are running from the higher side of the parks to the lower downward streets to their house, paralleling the drastic financial states of each family. The editing too is fantastic and truly letting every scene sync with us, allowing every moment to breathe, and only cuts to either intensify a scene or provide attention to important details. Everything works together, and also shifting up the tone, which is a high point into what makes this film great. At first, the film seems like a silly and enjoyable comedy with how laid back and wholesome it makes us feel, but then midway through the plot, it shifts into breaking down its true colors to showcase us a very dark, depressing, and reflective film that works marvelously without question. I'm going to save these two for later since they serve as an integral piece to the story. Since the whole setup of this film is revolved around these two entirely different yet similar families, to spice it up this time, I'll be discussing both these groups of characters at the same time and how much they parallel one another, while also discuss their depth and little details. This song and Ki-young emulate each other with how they both express special gifts and creativity and talent, but the song has the opportunities provided to him to grow his passion, whilst Ki-young cannot within the status she lives in.
포토샵 같은 것도 잘하고. 넌 이 좋은 실력으로 왜 미대는 맨날 떨어지냐?
날씨 죽을래.
Chung-suk and Yin-gyo are opposites in how Yin-gyo is very naive and oblivious to things, whilst Chung-suk knows how to fill the needs of others and express herself. The drastic difference is how Yin-gyo's naiveness never becomes a great trial for her, and Chung-suk is still in the habit of poor living conditions. The high doesn't have much in depth, but she still stands as a girl that is very ordinary but isn't too fully educated or in the need of worrying, whilst Kiwoo is constantly planning, hustling, and always thinking ahead of things, even if it comes at the cost for him and everyone. The most important two figures that deserve the most attention are that of Ki Taek and Dong-ik. Dong-ik is everything Ki Taek wishes he could be, to the point where it's heavily detailed across the film with how collective, calm yet human and expressive he is for his family and overall life. Whilst Ki Taek is too loving for his family and doing his best, he is completely clueless and struggles deep inside with the somber states he and his whole family are within society, as greatly showcased in probably my favorite scene in the entire movie.
아까 그 계획이 뭐예요?
나 절대 실패하지 않는 계획이 만조라네. 무계획이야, 무계획. No plan. 왜냐? 계획을 하면 반드시 계획대로 안 되거든, 인생이. 계획이 없으니까 뭐가 잘못될 일도 없고 시발 다 상관없다 이 말이지. 알겠어?
아버지, 죄송해요.
뭐가 임마?
다요. 전부 다. 제가 책임질게요. 얘가 자꾸 날 따라와요.
In some odd way, despite how entirely different these two families may be from each other, with careful detail, they are more alike than they may think, and that is greatly expressed within the story itself. There are many important ideas on the societal system that are across this film, and even if you're a casual viewer, you can tell the overall idea of this film is something related to the poor and the rich. Though, there's only one central theme and subsequent ideas that came out of my overall analyzation of this movie in wealth and equality. But it's more than just the states of being a poor and rich person. The overall symbolism of the Parks and Kims are in the connection they share, and it's in being parasites. This entire film's focus is within the title itself, Parasite, presenting how the Kim family are parasitic towards the Parks and managing to infiltrate their house and take in the luxury of their living conditions. But the Parks are parasitic and requiring the necessities of other people to do their basic everyday needs, such as a chauffeur, housekeeper, and tutors. The main antagonist isn't the Parks though, it's really Moon Gwang and Jensei, who serve as the opposers of the Kims. They too are parasites in that they revel in the Park's luxury and go into a violent battle off the necessity of it with the Kims. Yet despite all this sorrow and rage put upon these two dividing sides, the Parks live in bliss and ignorance, perfectly examined in this one scene that says it all for the film.
그러니까 비 안 왔으면 어쩔 뻔했냐고요. 그리고 선물은 절대 사오지 마. 진짜로. 맞다. 자기 미니 쿠퍼니까 그냥 우리 차고 안에 그냥.
This is nothing more but a perfect example of the system. How one thing can be a beautiful thing for one family, but a great tragedy for another. Keats Hayek murders Don Ick, not because he's the man he wishes he could be, but because the parks look down upon him all because of his smell, which may seem insignificant, but truly means a lot more than the surface. Yet just like the system, no matter how violent and horrific the climax is in this film, everything resets. Keats Hayek is now the new Parasite, with a new family moving in, and the rest of the family remaining in their same state. People may suffer, but the system remains unchanged. In today's modern society, parasites can be within us everyday humans. One person may cherish something, while another is punished by it. This entire film says it subtly, but importantly, there's nothing we can do about the system. The best kind of plan is to not have one at all, for nothing can ever truly go wrong. Being able to reach that ending for Kiwoo is nothing more but just a distant fantasy. So long, farewell, and goodbye.